It's not something I chose to have, it's something I was born with and diagnosed with at the age of 11. Everyone hates me, that I'm this horrible, horrible person. It's like having a ghost in the back of your head. I was homeless at 15, I only got my interview wrong. I was meant to do data analytics. So it taught me that if I can do this, why can't others? Then you do not know what you're doing in this business. Managing WordPress is a skill that I know people that make 8 or 10 grand a month just making WordPress websites for people. And it's incredibly difficult because it doesn't involve any coding, it involves a lot of management. AI is evolving so fast. If you either use it or lose it skill, don't try and punch a brick wall. Imagine what you could do if you wasn't frightened. Imagine what you could do if you put the effort into destroying yourself, as in if you could, into creating something new. Entrepreneurship is a muscle in your brain to turn an idea into reality. Confidence, lastly, is the ability to put yourself on the table and accept that this is who I am and this is what I believe I can go and do at this moment in time. I didn't have an idea what I was doing. If they say no once, you go back there 2 days later. Because the first no is never a no. You have to at least get 3 no's before it's a proper no. At some point in your life, you guys need to do other 3 things.
Before we begin this episode, I want to share with you a really important message. So within this episode, which is a really incredible episode, our guest shares an important but brief mention of suicidal thoughts as part of their personal journey. While this story leads to a message of hope and recovery, we understand this is a difficult topic for people to listen to. Please take care while listening, and if you need support, reach out to someone you trust, or you'll find in the show notes links to lots of different charities that can help you. Oh, that was quite the episode with Carlo, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Very much.
He took us everywhere, didn't he?
Yeah.
What was most impactful for you?
I'd say the rawness of the conversations and the lack of censorship, I guess. Like we got such a in-depth view at his life and how he changed like his struggle into an opportunity and how he bounced back from rock bottom, I guess.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It really is. It's so inspiring. You're going to absolutely love this episode and you'll go through the whole roller coaster as we just did. So enjoy the episode.
Hello, I'm Carlo, and today I'm going to take you behind the future.
Welcome to another episode of Behind the Future. I have got a wonderful co-host with me today, Oban. Oban, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, my name's Oban. I'm 15 and I go to the maths school in Rochester.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Oban. And we have a wonderful guest today. I'm really excited about this one. We have the fantastic Carlo. Carlo, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hello, my name's Carlo Weaver. I've been homeless. I left school with 0 GCSEs and I'm diagnosed autistic. My life changed when I was managing an £83 million portfolio on a degree apprenticeship with NatWest, while I was also living in my nan's council house. I'm on a mission to help young people realise what their future could be if they have the right tools and direction of what their life really could be. And for me, that means everything, especially as someone who's diagnosed with autism, because my life's been bloody hard, and I'm sure yours has been too. And for me, that means we need to help young people realise what their life could be by removing barriers in society. And that's why I'm here today.
And every hair on my body is standing on end. Wow, what an opener. We have got a big conversation to start. So, Oban, over to you for the first question.
Do you see your autism as a superpower or a challenge in your life?
Icarus flew too close to the sun and got burnt, but his wings gave him the ability to fly. I use that all the time when I explain autism. It allows me to think like who I am, but also my autism is a part of me. It's not something I chose to have. It's something I was born with and diagnosed with at the age of 11. Is it a curse? Yeah, of course it is. There's no such thing in life as something that is incredibly and overwhelmingly positive without any negatives, because that's the nature of the universe. So yes, it's a gift because it allows me to talk to people like you, allows me to be here, but also it's a curse because it can make me feel that I'm not good enough. It can make me always feel that everyone hates me, that I'm this horrible, horrible person. It's like having a ghost in the back of your head. But then at times it's this person who will tell you, yes, you can do it, and it's not a barrier. But I'm only lucky to say that because I had supporting parents and I only had really positive influences around me. Other people I know who have autism find it the most disabling thing, and I think that's absolutely valid for them to feel that way. I'm just one of the lucky cases that actually had that support, and that's why I want to help others realize that, hey, just because you've got this label doesn't define who you are. It's just who you are, doesn't define you. It's just who you are. You had it before you got diagnosed, and you're always going to have it, and you've got to learn to live with it no matter how painful it is. But also you have to accept how you feel and talk about it as well.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you.
How does that, because I think we were talking about this before, you're happy to say that you also have autism. How does that make you feel? Because your diagnosis is quite recent.
Yeah, last year, end of 2024, I was diagnosed with autism. But like, it's quite, I don't know, inspiring in a sense to see someone else so like successful who also, well, that has autism too. It makes you think slightly differently about it, and like it's not always a negative thing as some people would point out to be, I guess.
Yeah, it's so true. We're all different, and actually different lenses on the world are what make the world so interesting, because the three of us will see things differently to each other, and that's being able to embrace that and being able to use that to create great things is just the whole point of collaborating and bringing people together, isn't it? So I love it. Really love it.
Well, all I can say is that everyone who is neurodiverse is just a human being like every single one of us. We all bleed the same colour, we all breathe the same air, and at the end of the day, we all have to go at number 2, which is the truth, unfortunately. There's no way around that one.
Not right now, hopefully, though.
No.
Oh dear, it's so true though, isn't it? Do you know what? It's funny actually. It's such a good thing. I've heard someone say that before. I was really nervous about getting on stage when I was younger. It was the first time I was doing something like that, and someone said to me, "Just remember, they all go for a poo as well." And I was like, "Okay, fine, okay, it's normal." And you suddenly just remember, actually, we're all just human. It doesn't matter. You could be the King of England, but we've all got the same things that work in the same way. And we're all here just trying to make a good living. Yeah. So, well, there you go. We've gone deep. We've gone in all different places. You started with a big opener there and the start of your story. So I feel like we should go back to the fact that you said you were homeless at one point. Mm-hmm. Are you happy to share a bit about that?
Absolutely.
And how that influenced your journey, I guess.
I mean, it meant everything to me. But before I was homeless at 15. The reason me and my mum got made homeless was genuinely due to not having the most amazing financial literacy. Back then, something called a Section 21 existed, which is huge in the news right now, which means that any landlord can evict any tenant for no reason at all. Some people say they're for it. Some people say they don't. I don't have an opinion. But what I do know is that when you can't afford the rent and you've got nowhere that will accept you on housing benefit, the only place you can go is to the streets. And for 8 months, me and my mum was homeless in and out of all different hostels. And because of that, I failed all my GCSEs because I never sat them. So I was a neat statistic, which is not in education, employment, or training. So I was one of these people who right now in our society, I would argue some of the most vulnerable and some of the people that are going to decide the future of the nation. And that journey that I went through defined me. It nearly ended me. Not once, not twice, many times, but also it made me realize that, you know what, when you have nothing, you can actually achieve something. And I believe that dream of achieving something is why so many people in this country want to come here. So many people value British education, and so many people actually value what we can offer, because I believe that the United Kingdom is a great place for opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. And you've turned something that was a really hard time that most people, and we hope most people never have to experience, into something that's helped fuel your fire. And actually, the fact that you didn't get your GCSEs, but you're running a company now. And like, I think at your age, you're about to go into GCSE year next year of actually sitting them. And it feels like everything at that point in time. And it's all this pressure when actually you don't even have to have them, and good things can happen, and you can make a success of life. Obviously, most people will go through the process of sitting them, but it's incredible what you've been able to achieve. So I guess take us on the journey. What happens next?
Well, I actually had to go to college and get my education, which is arguably harder than being homeless. I went into a level 1 ICT course at Epping Forest College. It was not the best college. You can look it up. It's not very good. And in my ICT level 1 class, I was through a bunch of people who were crooks, also people who had extreme learning disabilities, and it was just everyone who basically didn't catch the bus. as I would say, who didn't manage to get anything, and they were all just lumped in one room. And that was my first time back in society after being homeless with my mum. And I had to fight for 3 years from, I would say, 15 to 19/18, of going to college, going from level 1 ICT BTEC, level 2 ICT BTEC, level 3 ICT BTEC, failing my GCSE maths twice. Bearing in mind, I managed to work in investment banking afterwards. Fun fact, you don't need GCSEs really at all other than the pass. And also managed to get my English GCSEs. And after doing that for 3.5 years, I managed to get into an apprenticeship. But I don't want to go over the fact that in them 3.5 years, I was working every job under the sun. I was managing a charity shop, running an eBay shop. I was working as basically a labourer, going all around London helping do things. I was doing gardening. I was just doing everything I could to make money. And the reason for that is I ended up becoming a full-time carer for my nan, who unfortunately at the time was extremely unwell, couldn't walk, and had no money because she was a gambling addict. So me and my nan used to go to Aldi and have 11p curries at the time to live on because there was no money. My mum at the time wasn't in the mentally best of places. She's doing amazingly now, and I love her so much. And it was just me and nan for a while, and mum was there. Mum was not always there, but when my mum was, it was absolutely amazing. So I was going to college. My mum was helping me where she could, doing her best. I was then looking after my nan, working all these jobs, and it got to the point where I was about to finish, and I just thought, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I could become a plumber or electrician, and I thought maybe I could do that, but I didn't want to. My college never helped me with anything, and I was just looking for jobs, and on the sixth page of Google, I found a degree apprenticeship with NatWest. I clicked apply on it, £30,000 starting salary. I said, that can't be right. No, surely not. And I said, I have a CV. I've got a lot of work experience and I can talk quite well. And the reason I could talk quite well is I play video games all the time and talk to strangers on the internet. So I was like being in a call center 24/7. And through doing that, I applied. 5 interviews later, I got into an interview with a guy and he said, I'm a portfolio manager. And I said, yeah, I don't know what that is. And he was like, well, didn't you do it in your degree? He was like, well, what do you mean by that? I didn't do a degree in his interview. They only got my interview wrong. I was meant to do data analytics, and my interview ended up being a guy in portfolio management. And for an hour, I had to convince him on, hey, I'm Carlo. I've done all of this. I want to do an apprenticeship. What's a degree apprenticeship? I want to hire a grad because my actual name is Charles. And that's for that. They had a Charles attend that interview. They gave me the wrong link and I joined. And luckily, an hour through that, the lead business strategist in that area of NatWest came in and said, oh, I know what an apprenticeship is. And then I spoke to both of them. There you go. I was in a front office role, managing an £83 million portfolio, co-managing it. I didn't have an idea what I was doing, but learning how to do that and learning business strategy with the CIO of NatWest. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And through doing that, I was like, well, I've kind of bounced back from everything. But at the same time, I have no economics background. I had to learn what economics was for a bank. And that really gives you a skewed view on what life is. Yeah. But also it taught me that if I can do this, why can't others?
Yeah.
And through doing that for 3 years, I'd done 2.5 years down doing that. And then a year as a software engineer on a trading desk because I wanted to become a trader. And then I realized actually I don't want to become a trader, but it taught me how to code and how to do that. And I thought, well, this sounds really good. I want to start something, a project. And I called that project Apprentigo, which I still have today. And at the time it meant find an apprenticeship and go with it. And the whole point of it is that I can create a website and know how to code. I can manage money somewhat well. And also I have a phone. So why not start my own business? And I didn't really make any money for the first 6 months, but my first TikTok video got 50,000 views. Wow. And I thought, wow, but my first LinkedIn post got 3 likes. And that's also a harsh reminder that LinkedIn is tough.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, this isn't working, but I'm going to keep going. And before you know it, we was working with some big companies and I just said to him, hey, what are you doing for this? Hey, what are you doing for that? And I just kept going with it really. And nearly 2 years later, we've won the British Business Awards from the British Business Company, which I wrote the whole thing with ChatGPT. So it doesn't mean anything. I was on BBC News talking about AI. I was on Channel 4 talking about our AI CV builder because we actually think that every kid in the country needs to make a CV to apply for a job. And if you don't have a CV, you can't apply for a job, which is you're a bit out of luck, aren't you? So yeah, I've been there, done things, got a platform, got stuff, but I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the digital skills gap, and also about, you know, what you guys do with Aspiration Digital, talking to this young man right here about his experience, because I can only do so much. Yeah, I've got a platform and I can talk good, but I think that what people need to hear is the fact that we're in a society that it's not going to collapse. I'm not that extreme, but there's definitely going to be a huge gap in the road if we don't talk about digital skills.
100%. Wow. I mean, you are very inspirational, really inspirational for what you've achieved and what you've done. And you're right, there is a digital skills gap and people aren't getting the opportunities. They're not seeing the opportunities. They don't know the jobs exist. And that's why your platform's incredible and what you're doing to help young people. So the degree apprenticeship with NatWest, you've talked them round, even though they weren't the right people for the degree apprenticeship.
Well, they were. It's just the guy had to hire me in the area. Like, the university thing was signed. They were with QA, who's a huge training provider, who I know people there as well. That's a great client I want to have one day. Hopefully, who knows?
We've been trying to get them to sponsor Aspiration Digital as well. So
all right, we'll pick that up
go
offline.
in together, shall we?
We can go and pick that one up offline. But yeah, like, you know, they hired me, and through doing that, they hired some other people. I mean, some guy who I know who got the apprenticeship, and I'm not going to say his name. He was an Uber driver for 3 years at 22 and left school with nothing. Ended up now working in Coutts Bank, which is the bank where the Queen used to be, and is a manager at Coutts through an apprenticeship. Even though he was an Uber driver for 3 years, and he's a Somalian immigrant who come over here to better his own life. You wouldn't think that for being an Uber driver. Everyone said to him, well, you can get a job as an Uber driver. So you do understand you've got 500 people plus who can give you a testimony and you'll feel good you are.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I guess I can.
Yeah.
There you go. Best work experience you can ever get.
Well, also it's that customer service work experience of getting to just chat to people in your cab. Like, I always think, being a cabbie or an Uber driver is an incredible job for hearing about so many different things, talking to so many different people from so many different backgrounds. And if you get the balance right and you engage in the right conversation, I mean, I just think it's one of the most interesting jobs. It's so obviously set him up well.
Yeah, I mean, 500 reviews. So what job can you say? I have 500 people that can vouch for how good I am. Here you go. Here's what they had to say about me.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the reframe as well, though, because you could just go, oh, that was just for my driving or whatever. But it's like, no, actually, that was for you and for the experience you gave them. And it's the way you look at things, isn't it? So, yeah, I love that. Love that. So you've got so you're doing the degree apprenticeship and you were learning software engineering as part of that or separate to that?
I was learning part of it. I mean, to be completely fair, my degree apprenticeship, they had not barely a clue what they were doing. They were so much better now. NatWest do great things now. But at the time, it was just a bit of, right, you're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that. I'd just done a bit of everything. It was like, okay, this is how the proper economics and finance works. This is how trading works. This is how, actual portfolio management works with assets and internal projects. This is, how software engineering is, and this is how you code in C#. My first day of becoming a software engineer, I got a 1,600-page book given to me. Said, you've got to read that in 2 weeks. And I was like, then start. And I'm like, easy. And that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Not the best way to learn. If you do get yourself in a similar situation, please just run it through Notebook LM, the Google AI assistant.
Yeah.
Don't read a 1,600-page book, please.
Yeah. Have you played with Notebook LM?
I haven't, no.
So it's incredible, isn't it?
It's amazing.
You can literally upload multiple documents to it and it'll make you a podcast with fake people, so AI people like us. So you could put in there, you could put the 1,600-page book in there and say, could you create me a series of podcasts helping me to understand this information? And in minutes it would have the first one ready for you, and you can just go and listen to it, and it's not a real person, but it absolutely sounds like it. And they also have a bit of banter with each other, don't they?
They do, but the voices are American only at the moment, which is my only gripe.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It is a bit, but it's just mind-blowing, isn't it, what it can do? And it's a really good way for being able to create information in a different format to help, because I'd be a 1,600-page book. I think that would I don't know, that would stop me in my tracks of knowing, how am I going to get through this? And also for a practical skill, it's quite a hard way to learn. Yeah,
especially for a digital skill, when you're having to look up and down, and you have these black and white examples as well of what's what. But people don't realize when you code, there's different colors in the syntax to give you an idea of what does what. So when it's just black and white, it's just a bit confusing.
Yeah.
But it's it did help, and it made me be able to stand on my own 2 feet. Not saying I was any good, but it did enable me to learn. And that experience, when I went out with Apprentico and said, right, I'm going to build a proper technology platform that we're going to code from scratch. Everyone at Apprentico can code, which is a good skill that I would say at some point in your life, you guys need to do other 3 things. You either can code, you can either sell really good, or you can post videos. If you can do one of them 3 things, or even all 3, then you're on my team. If you cannot do one of them 3 things, then you do not know what you're doing in this business.
Yeah. They're such good skills, aren't they?
You've got to have one of the 3.
I don't know why school doesn't teach you, especially sales. Like we were talking about this earlier, I think, the fact that to even get your mum to agree to something, you're using sales skills. So actually, like it's such an important skill that we use all the time. And yet we don't really know about it and learn enough about it. And yet there's so much you can learn about it if you go and find the right training people and get the right experience. But yeah, it's such a critical skill.
Well, it is. And I feel like it's a skill that, tying with the digital skills gap, people are going to notice that there's more of a rift between. Like Microsoft just in America fired around 2,000 of their sales reps, because what they want is they want actual salespeople to be what they call product owners. Now, for what that really means is, we don't just want you to sell a car. We want you to be a person who drives the car and also sells it. So you actually have experience doing it. Because what used to happen is, for people watching, is you would say, call Microsoft, you want to use, their whole suite for your business, as an example. You talk to a sales rep, really cool guy, knows the top line knowledge, and then you would basically get passed through to a technical team once you sign a bit of paperwork, show you how to do it. Why are we doing that? You want people who sell the product or sell the service you're offering to actually be affected by it, or to have very least used it, and that's the really important things of getting feedback. And that's the thing that young people don't do enough, because we're not taught in school that, hey, what do you think of my homework? Or, hey, what do you think of my project I'm doing? And you get feedback on it. And also, if you want someone to sell you something, you want someone to at least have used it. You wouldn't want someone to sell you a car if they didn't have a driving license, in my opinion.
I'd agree. I'd absolutely agree.
I don't drive, but I agree too.
Yeah. Well, it's like me trying to sell you a game and I don't play games. Like you'd be like, well, how do you even know about it? It's really inauthentic, isn't it? You've got to be able to do the thing. No, I think sales is just do they ever talk at school about sales skills?
No, not at all. It never comes up.
No. And it's one of those things that's often thought of as a dirty word, isn't it? Like there's a point where people start to go, oh, sales, what, like, are you going to be a window salesperson or something, or the person on the street that's trying to sell you things that you don't want. But actually, I take my hat off to people that are on the streets trying to grab people to sell them things, because it's an absolute skill to be able to do that, or knocking on doors, selling things. When we get the people around our way selling the cat food or the dog food on subscriptions, or HelloFresh, things like that. To be able to just knock on someone's door and have the confidence to try and sell them something is a huge skill.
It really is.
Just a quick note from me. We'd love you to hit the subscribe button. This helps us more than you might realise when it comes to growing this podcast, ensuring we can bring you the best guests possible. Thank you. Back to the episode.
Just a question for you, Oban, is what digital skills have they taught you at school? Just quickly, don't have to go into the whole complexities of it. Just top line, what would you say?
Coding, really. They've taught us just some Python, cool. Like the HTML, in my computer science lessons.
Have they taught you what GitHub is or GitLab is?
No.
Okay. You may want to look into that, because part of digital skills is we want to teach all these young people how to code, but we don't want to teach any young people how to deploy their code or how to manage their code. Or say if 10 people work on the same piece of code, how the hell does that work? That's quite mind-blowing when you think about it, right? How can 10 people do it? GitHub/GitLab, there's 2 different versions of it. If you can't use Git, which is don't get taught in universities, it taught in the workplace, then you won't get hired, because it's a management system. You can write the best code if you want, but if you don't know how to communicate with the people you work with and use Git, then you won't work. But the schools don't teach you that. But it's a critical skill that you need to learn. But that's a digital skill. It's learning how the code's one thing. It's like me saying to you, right, I can drive a car really, really, really fast, but I can't park.
Yeah.
And it's being like, oh, well, how do you stop driving? I just stop in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
But what about all the other people that you're going to block and drive? Oh, no, it's not about them. Okay. So there's a whole other art of it when people talk about digital skills, and not just doing the code. It's about managing it and understanding how it works.
Yeah. And did they talk to you about coming up with ideas of what you might code and create, and how that might turn into creating a business, for example?
I mean, we were taught how to code like a basic website page, but nothing really like that you can make yourself, or like nothing for you to put your own ideas into. I don't know, like make them. And they just don't really. It's not something that's ever brought up. Like you can't really be creative. You're just taught a set list of things, and you should stick to them, apparently.
Because I suppose that's the thing often with what you're learning at school. A bit like you said, you've struggled with maths, but actually then went to work in an economics job in a bank. It misses the practicality sometimes. So you might have learnt to code, but if you don't know the concept of why you might code and what you could create and how to take that into creating a business or creating a product for somebody, it then kind of limits your ability at that point, because you're like, well, I know how to code, but someone needs to tell me what to code, until you know how to kind of draw the parallels. What helped you like on your journey? Because so Apprentigo, the original version, you coded that yourself, did you?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't very good. We used a lot of coding, a lot of WordPress. So we used WordPress as basically the back end, and all the features on the website I coded myself in PHP. Don't learn PHP. It's a terrible language to learn. It's what Facebook's entirely built on. Don't do it. It's not, no, don't learn that language.
It's dying out more now, isn't it?
It is, just don't use PHP. But I had to code it myself, figure out how things work, and me and that effort taught me a lot of things. And people think, oh, WordPress is really easy. Managing WordPress is a skill that I know people that make 8 or 10 grand a month just making WordPress websites for people. And it's incredibly difficult because it doesn't involve any coding. It involves a lot of management, and management of computer programs, i.e. making websites, is actually quite difficult, especially when you get into cybersecurity of things, which is something that I'm not great at cybersecurity, but I have a good idea of how it works because we've not been hacked yet.
Touching wood for you there. But yeah, and I suppose that's because, what are your views with AI becoming as apparent in our world as it is, and the fact that we can go and build things using AI? So actually, do we need the software development skills, or can we just ask the AI to create things for us? Where do you sit on that?
In 1972, the calculator was banned in all exams across the country because people thought it was cheating. After decimal point and everything was more introduced and the currency exchanges were definitely more rigorous, people thought the calculator was cheating. You were told you will never, ever, ever have a calculator in your pocket. But if you open your phone now, you'll find a calculator app in it. We were told the same thing with AI. You'll never have a computer. Microsoft, what was it? They want a computer in every home was their mission. They now have that. Now we've got everything on our phone. AI is evolving so fast. If you either use it or lose it skill. The other example I'll give is an email. Everyone was told they're going to have an email address, right? When the SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol, was invented in the 80s. No, not going to happen. We've all now got emails. You have to use it. Software engineering isn't about writing code. Software engineering is a set of design principles and a methodology of thinking that you have to understand and learn how it works. That's where terms such as vibe coding has become popular. Vibe coding doesn't work if you don't understand the principles of how to make something. It's like me telling you, right, I'm going to teach an AI how to put butter on toast. But if you never had butter in the first place, or knew how to bolt the butter or put the butter in the fridge, or even get the toast out or put it in the toaster to plug the toaster in, you wouldn't actually understand how to use the AI. That's the last step in the process. But the design and methodology of how you think is very, very important when it comes to software engineering, not the coding technicalities itself at a surface level.
That's really interesting. I was thinking about this the other day. I've obviously a lot of meetings now, we're using AI note takers. I've been using Fixer, which I'm really enjoying. The notes on it are brilliant. But I was like, so if I started in my career today and the company I worked for gave me Fixer, I'm never going to have learned how to take notes from a meeting. I'm going to never have learned how to listen and work out what's important to me. I'm going to let the note taker do it and tell me. And it does a brilliant job. But actually, I don't quite know. And I wrestled with it in my mind and then had to move on to something else and didn't get to answering it properly as to how do I actually feel about that? Because there is a skill in being present in a meeting and having to be the one that's listening. Same as I suppose in a class, listening to what the teacher's telling you and taking away what you really need to know. That actually, if you just rely on technology to do it, are you less active in the meeting?
We was told that when the washing machine was going to be invented, it will free up your time to do things that you enjoy. And that didn't really happen. It did free your time up, but we spelt with other times. We do not wash clothes by hand anymore.
No.
Should we wash clothes by hand? Well, effectively, it does work. But to still wash clothes, you still actually have to understand how a dishwasher works, how a washing machine works, and also what has to go into it, how to take it out, how to hang it. Yes, you're not actually having the method to do the same, i.e. taking the notes, but learning to use the note taker and what an action or a decision is in that meeting is imperative to your growth as a young professional, as someone who wants to start a business or someone in school. Yes, I used to take notes all the time. I'd go into these big strategic meetings, everyone in a suit, in a row, and I'd sit there and take notes. And I mean, remembering everyone's name was also difficult.
Yeah,
right?
You'd always write them along the top, wouldn't you?
Write along the top.
Yeah.
You'd write along the top who is doing what. And I think that's a waste of time. But what I don't think is a waste of time is actually having them constructive conversations with me and my manager, a guy say his name was Steve. Every after one of them big meetings would say, what did you learn? Run me through what you wrote down. And I think the activity of writing something down and what you learned from it is different to just having an answer in front of you.
Yeah, I agree. We often ask the question, what was most impactful? So what was most impactful? And we do it sometimes in the room with everyone there. It's like, right, we're going to go around the room. Yeah. What was most impactful from that meeting? And you have to say something. And it's really good as a reflection on, well, actually, what was most impactful from that meeting? And it's a really good way of getting everyone, because also then you hear someone else's and you're like, oh, I saw something different to what I saw in that meeting. I love that. And it's a really good summary at the end. And also Fixer will catch that for you as well. So it's an interesting one, isn't it? Just seeing, as you say, like AI is moving faster than we could even imagine right now. So things are changing. And I think by the time you enter the workplace fully, for having finished school and whatever you decide to do afterwards, it's going to be different again. And what an exciting place to be. But you've got to be embracing it. Have you been playing with AI tools?
I've used mostly just ChatGPT, like Microsoft, like Copilot. Gemini less so, but I still like they're quite helpful. Like I've used them to get notes for like if I am to study. It doesn't happen too often, sadly. But if I was to, I'd be like finding relevant notes using those tools. But I mean, it also can help you like create revision guides and other things like that. And like from experience, they actually aren't the worst.
Yeah.
So I've been using them quite a bit, and I don't know, they've just got a lot better.
They haven't they? Noticeably
over the years.
Are you encouraged at school to use them?
Not really. It depends by who. Like my computer science teacher would rather not that we use them.
Interesting.
He despises the use of AI like in class and at home because he says it's cheating. But my chemistry teacher absolutely loves it. Like she creates lesson plans with it. She says that like recommends that we have our own like revision guides, and we use that. Like it can teach us things as well. Like if we don't understand something in a lesson, we can take that home and try and get like AI to write it in a sense that we would understand.
Yeah.
May I ask, have your computer science teacher explained to you what the difference is between computer science and software engineering?
No.
Computer science is a theoretical research scientific degree that you typically have to go and pursue, and it's theoretical research, nothing to do with software engineering or practical IT skills for the most part, and it's becoming less and less relevant as it goes. Computer science doesn't encompass all of IT and technology or digital, it's just a part of the ecosystem that is becoming less and less relevant. To what your teacher was saying is AI is cheating for a lot of people. Is saying having a calculator to figure out the answer for you, but also you have to still program the calculator. Prompt engineering is a word that is now, I call the new cloud word. You must remember the word cloud.
Yeah.
Prompt engineering has now become that. And what essentially prompt engineering is for you using it is how can I get this machine to best do what I want it for me? So when you drive a car, how can I make the car drive faster? It's a skill to master a vehicle, and it's a skill to master AI. And it's people who, unfortunately, like your teacher, that I believe may be left behind when people do not use AI, because what will happen is AI won't take your job. It's the person who's using AI will take your job for the most part.
100%. 100%. So what, from your journey, what were the pivotal moments? What are the bits that people listening and open here today could go, oh, I can learn from that, I could replicate that, or that's a lesson I can take away?
Don't try and punch a brick wall. You can punch a brick wall really, really hard and you might break one brick, but in the result of that, you'll break your hands. You won't be able to break a brick for a long time. Always think of how you approach something. For me, one of my biggest lessons is that when I tried to kill myself when I was homeless with my mum, I called it the first ever project management task I did. I planned it out so specifically. I wrote down every minute detail. It was the first ever time I really cared about something that was actually resulting in me not being here anymore. And I wanted to end my own life because I just thought life was pointless. Well, I'm just going to be like this. I'm never going to get out of this hostel. I'm never going to, do anything. My mum is, doing her best, but also having an effect on her. I've got no qualifications. I'm looking on Facebook at the time. Everyone's laughing and loving life. They've got their qualifications. What am I going to do? And the day I ended up trying to go and kill myself, I couldn't do it. And I fell to my knees and I cried my heart out because I said, not only can I not live right, I cannot die right. But what I learned is that if I actually put just a fraction of the effort I did into dying and planning to end my own life, and I put a fraction of that into living, then imagine who I could become, imagine the impact I could have on others, and imagine what the world could be like if I really tried my best. And that would be my biggest lesson is imagine what you could do if you wasn't frightened. Imagine what you could do if you put the effort into destroying yourself, as in if you could, into creating something new.
That's beautiful. Really beautiful. Really powerful.
Yeah.
It's because you can make anything happen. Like, I so believe that. And I know some people say, oh no, you can. You're living proof to have come from such a tricky time in your life that most people can't even imagine what it felt like to be running a company now and putting all your energy back into helping young people see their potential. Like, it's a heartwarming story in that sense, and it brings a tear to my eye because it's just it's incredible. And I think I wish more people realize the potential of just when they put their mind to something, what you can do.
Yeah, and it's not just about putting your mind to something, it's realizing that people actually care about you. There are tools out there that can help you with these ideas. Simon Squibb said to me the other week, I was sitting with him at an event for half an hour. We were talking about tuna versus salmon sandwiches when we were poor. What would you rather eat? He still likes tuna. I like salmon now. I've gone up in the world. And he said that entrepreneurship is a muscle in your brain to turn an idea into reality. And that really took me away. But what really made me think of that from a philosophical angle, from philosophy, is self-advocacy is the first thing that comes before you even use that muscle. And it's actually having self-belief. Getting that idea is fortunate. You have to be incredibly fortunate and turn it into reality. But let's try and give people more the idea. Let's actually, talk about self-advocacy. Let's talk about how we can help more young people believe in themselves and give them confidence, the confidence to think, maybe this is what I want to do. And if that going to university, doing an apprenticeship or starting your own business, doesn't matter what it is, but what matters is you have a clear idea on what you want to do and you're not just going through life thinking, what am I doing? Because before you know it, you just won't be happy anymore and you'll just think this is all pointless. And you could be a potential person that wouldn't be here anymore or just wants to put misery on others. And I don't think that's what young people need. I think young people need that self-advocacy. They need role models. I know that my story is a story of many. Hundreds of thousands of people are autistic, hundreds of thousands of people have been homeless. You only know who I am because I made it out. And I think there's many people in my situation who I've known that aren't here anymore. And I feel for those people, but I also, history teaches us that the best lessons are the ones of people who have made mistakes. So, yeah. I think that self-advocacy is incredibly important.
Yeah, I wish we taught confidence in school.
Mm.
We actually, there's an incredible lady, I don't know if you've come across her, called Kirsty Holz, and
Heard of her, yeah.
she's amazing. She's a confidence trainer, and we brought her into our business a few years ago to do I think it was over about 5 months, a program of training with our team, because she talks about the fact that confidence, like people say I'm confident or I'm not confident, but it's not a label that's been put on you. You have the ability to become confident. It's a skill and it's a mindset and it's something you can train. And you can't expect, if we walked out of here today and there's a stage out there with 1,000 people, most people aren't going to feel confident about that moment of just walking out in front of all those people. But over time, you can get to a point where you could feel confident to do that, even if at the moment that feels like the worst thing in the world, but you can train it. So actually teaching young people confidence and how to become confident about something, and where to seek that and what to do to nurture it, because you're right, it's the bedrock of doing good things and being able to get out there in the world.
Yeah. Can I ask something? What makes you feel confident? Confidence is what makes you feel like, yeah, I can go and do this.
A lot of support from people, to be fair, and like a lack of judgment. That's mostly it, to be fair. It's like people not criticizing me for everything I do makes me feel like I'm capable and, well, confident to do those things.
Becky, what makes you feel confident?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think knowing, I suppose over the years that I've built the business and I've been able to help others, like my impact on others helps me to feel confident, because I realise that what I'm doing is helping people. And just my knowledge, knowing that actually when we help our clients, that we've built a team and a way of doing things that means that we can actually create great work that makes a difference. So it's seeing the results, I think, is what makes me feel confident. How about you?
I think for me, it's a mixture of both, and that is having support from people and also having that self-advocacy to think that I can do this. And I'm very lucky to have a strong amount of that. Some people don't. There's people who have less than me that do more than I do, and people who have more than me than I do more than they do. But it's about having the ability to get support from people around you as one. 2, it's having that self-advocacy. And 3, it's also about having the proof that people genuinely care about you and that they're not judging you. They can criticize you, which is they're allowed to, but judging you is something that I'm not a fan of. And the difference between criticizing and judging someone is, you can't judge a person on their height. They can't control that. But you can criticize someone on their bad breath, is what I say. So you have to think of it that way. And if you have people around you that criticize you, encourage you, and also say, come on, you can do this. And that it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel like, you know what, today I just want to sit and play Pokemon for 4 hours. You can just do that. But it's about having everyone around you to believe in supporting you and have their moments in your mind where you can actually look back, because confidence is what I call a chain reaction. When you go and talk on that stage for the first time, it's petrifying. The second time, not so much. But the third time might be really bad if you had a bad night's sleep before. And what you're going to do, I can't do it. I can't do it. You might want to watch that video of when you first done it. And you think, I can do it. Or, no, I can't do it today. I'm going to go do it another time. And then the next time you do it, you smash it out of the park. And also it's understanding how you feel in your own capacity. So yes, confidence is how other people support you. It's how you can self-advocate yourself and give yourself that. But confidence, lastly, is the ability to put yourself on the table and accept that this is who I am and this is what I believe I can go and do at this moment in time.
Yeah. I often say, what's the worst that can happen?
That's very true.
Like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, it's I do a lot of mentoring for people that get on stages, because I love speaking on stages and have done a lot of it. And whenever I mentor people, and I try and get them, what are you worried about? Oh, I'm worried about people calling me out, saying I've said the wrong thing, criticizing me, judging me, etc. And I'm like, how often have you sat in an audience and done any of those things to anybody?
Rarely.
Oh, never. Like, never. No one's ever done that, really. So why do you think everyone's going to suddenly do it to you? Like, are you planning to get up there and say something really controversial that you think most people won't agree with? Well, no, I'm just sharing my knowledge and my experience. Well, you are absolutely going to go up there and that audience are behind you. Like, no one wants to watch someone fail. Everyone's sitting there going, I hope you're going to do a great job, because I've given up my half an hour, my hour, whatever it is, to listen to you. No one's sitting there hoping it's going to be terrible. So it's Yeah, I think we put barriers in our own minds, and understandably so. But it's how can you knock them down and go, well, what's the worst that can happen? What if I trip up as I walk on stage? Well, and what? What happens?
But it's also understanding that, so what if 1 out of 1,000 people do judge you? And understanding the ratio that 999 back you and the one person that judges you. You can't listen to that person. But you also, if you're really brave, should say, well, why did you not like it? What could I do better? My mentor, Ash Ali, won £1 million at London Tech Week really recently. And for a pitch for his business, UHubs, he done really well. And he won the pitch and then started going to the people who lost. He won and said, what could I do better? What can I do better next time? And he'd done that for the reason he said, I might have won this time, but I want to be better next time. And part of that is the humility that I believe comes with confidence, because confidence also goes along a fine line of arrogance. You've all seen them tropes in them movies of a big macho guy who's super confident. Like Jack Reacher is the one I use. I watched that recently. And he's very confident, but he can't take any criticism. But it's actually having the humility to say, I was really good, but what can I do to be better?
Yeah. Yeah. Feedback is such an important thing. Like, we build it into our culture at work, because if you don't know, if people are sitting on gold dust that could be helping you, and you don't want to ask because you don't want to hear it because you feel like it's criticism, it's like, this is brilliant, because I'm never the finished product. Like, none of us are ever finished. None of us are ever the best that we could possibly be. Like, we could always be better. We could always get better. We can always improve. So as long as you're open to go, well, having that growth mindset, I can't do this yet, or I wasn't at my best yet. Help me. Tell me more. Is such a great way of learning and developing.
And imagine if we had every kid in a school sat down one-on-one for 5 minutes and had that conversation we just had now, and then think, okay, what if we had an environment, or say a society, where young people could feel, I actually can do this, and it doesn't matter what I go and do. They're not seeing 3 flags, one for business / entrepreneurship, one for apprenticeships or university. It's about, what do you think's best for you? And I think that's where things like AI and digital skills are going to come in play, and I hope they really do. And that's something that I want to contribute to. I call it like a PhD, what I'm doing. I can't change the world, but I believe I can move the needle along a little bit, and then it will be on to someone else to do it. And that is, can we give everyone the ability to believe in themselves and to be confident? And if they can feel confident, can we give them the tools to go and then pursue what they want to do, no matter what that is? Because either way, they're going to be in a better place doing it than if they've never done it at all.
100%. I love that.
For all the latest marketing and brand news, follow the Drum Mag on Instagram.
So tell us a tiny bit more about the platform. Like, how are you helping? What is it you're doing?
Okay, so to sum it up with young people, Apprentigo helps young people do 4 things. 1, we help you use AI to make a CV. That's called application tracking compatible, which means that you won't get auto rejects from people unless they actually do that to you. Or you can upload your own CV. 2, you can learn about all different companies near you. It's a bit like Rightmove when you go and find a house, which I try to do all the time, but then I just look at the price and can't afford it. And you look at all these companies and you look at the videos, what they do, like TikTok style videos that we've made, or some of our partners at TapLab have made, because they're a big partner of ours. And they watch the videos, you think, great, this is what the company does. That's their CSR for the company. Learn about it and employ near me. They can apply for their apprenticeships or work experience and soon to be startup jobs. Then when you look at all these employment opportunities, you can track your applications once you've done it all, watch the videos again, and you can take notes, a bit like Notion, in your tracker and save all your jobs and stuff that you want to apply to, not just jobs, work experience and apprenticeships and whatever. And once you move it along, you can then get hired directly in the app if employers use Apprentigo. But not only that, all the job descriptions are neurodivergent friendly. You have all videos. The goal is that every single job that is on Apprentigo and every single company is going to have a video explaining what that does. What does this look like? What is a geospatial analyst? Do you guys know what a geospatial analyst is?
I do not.
No.
Well, according to Skills England, there is going to be 250,000 new jobs by 2030 in the green skills sector. Do you know what green skills are, Oban?
No.
No. Okay. I'd be surprised if you did, because 2/3 of young people don't. Green skills is what's going to help us drive to net zero. I have my opinions on it, but without going into it, it's something that I think we can do. So how can we get 250,000 new jobs as a geospatial analyst? if you don't know what it is or where to find them or how it works. Now, for context, a geospatial analyst, and please no one tell me I'm getting this wrong, is someone looks at the geography and the spatial awareness of an area, and you're analysing the carbon emissions and how the different landscape works, which is incredibly important because to hit net zero, the whole country has to not emit any carbon emissions. And to do that, how can we track it? So if we're going to need, say, 50,000 of those, how are we going to educate young people on what it is? And also, how are we going to get just the recruitment of the young people? Because there's more than enough young people to go around. But how can we educate young people the best and actually show them, hey, this is what this looks like. Have you thought about doing this? Again, imagine that this could be you. And that, to me, is what the goal of we're trying to solve. It's how can we get a young person from education here to meaningful work, something that brings you meaning, that wakes you up. And then we look at the neat statistics of young people, right? There are at the moment 2 million young people, give or take, in this country who are not in education, employment, or training. 2 out of 3 of them young people, or 1 out of 3, I could get this wrong, have a mental health condition. And if we could get 30% in them into work, around say 250,000 people, that would save the economy £1.3 billion a year, generate £3 billion in tax, cut off welfare and social costs, and as well, less of a burden on the NHS and less of a burden on the justice system. They're the people I'm looking to target, not just the kids in schools, because I think they're very important, but also the people who feel like they're me, that have just been a bit lost in society, not on purpose, just, happen by ways of life. And Apprentigo aims to be the platform to help young people make a CV, learn about these companies, get themselves educated, watch all these courses on interviews, talk to AI, which is something we're building. Can't say much more on that, about how to pass interviews, how to get a coach. If you like my voice, you'll love it. And on top of that, actually get into something that can change your life. And once you're done with it, you never need to use us again. And that's what I want. Like, you use it once and it works, and that's it. Great. Thank you very much. On to the next person.
Yeah. And I'm sure you hope that they'll tell someone else about what a great experience. But that's incredible. That sounds like a good tool, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Really good. And does it, so it helps match people, because I suppose sometimes they finish school and they're like, well, I really enjoyed geography and maths, which might mean a geospatial engineer might be a good thing. But, and I'm just making this up because I don't know a huge amount about this job role, as we just found out. But does it help match? Because I suppose if they don't know about the job, but they know that's a thing I like, it's like, how do you help me get there?
2 ways. So 1, we have a matching algorithm that we have, and it's really simple. It's you use our system to make a CV or your profile, load your own, and through that, we'll match you to a certain amount of jobs. So if there's 10,000 jobs, we'll match you to 500. That's where most places kind of leave you. They'll give you, say, out of these 500 jobs, you're 10 out of 10 will over this one. The next step of that, which is what we are slowly building now as we're coming out, is an AI agent. So you match the 500 jobs. How do we pick out the 500?
Yeah.
How do we say that the 5 that we think you're the best at, what does this look like? Talk to the AI. Okay, if you're going to go into this, we know the interview question is going to be this. Here's the videos to watch it. How do we train that? Because a lot of places have matching to say that 1,000 to 500, but how do we narrow the 500 down the 5? That's the bit I'm trying to get to. And yes, it's using a CV. I hate CVs, but unfortunately, you do need one to get a job. And there are some other great platforms out there that I quite like. But at the same time, what Apprentigo is trying to do is really make it personalized. To think, how do we know what 5 roles are best for me? And then all that information can get sent to an employer without giving too much away to see, right, we know that this young person is looking at this, studying this. They might be a good fit for us, which saves them money on ridiculous recruitment fees. And on top of that, makes their marketing spend actually have a long-term ROI.
Yeah. I love that. And so I'm with you on CVs. Like, I struggle with them. And also what I think is really sad is so often a CV is just such a tiny part of the story, and you miss the person. So I often, and I'd be interested in your views on this, I often encourage people to record like a little covering note video, which isn't for everybody. Some people that would send them into a tailspin of, I'm not doing that. But actually, if you're comfortable being on video, and a lot of young people are with TikTok, etc. It's like, create a 2-minute TikTok on who you are and why you like the thought of working at X company. And I just still don't see many people doing it, but I think it's such a lovely way to stand out. But I don't know, have you thought about anything with like video with the platform? Or
I think it works, but I don't think it's fully inclusive.
No, that's true.
I think it's a great tool. I think the best inclusive thing, we're going to have some agents. For different people know, an assistant versus an agent. An assistant, you have to tell it to do something. An agent will go do it on your behalf. That's the simplest way to explain a difference. Not qualified in AI. I don't think anyone can be qualified in AI at this rate. And what I mean by that is having an agent that can, again, help you, train you, get better for interviews, and then gets all that data and then can send that to an employer.
Yeah.
And you can talk to it, not via video or via video, you can type to it, right? Yeah. Hopefully, if everything works, we can have sign language going into it. Hopefully, if that can work, which we're exploring, because one of our investors at Apprentigo knows fluent sign language and his parents are deaf. So we're trying to hopefully push that into doing that to more inclusive and figuring out how we can do this and get all that data so it can be sent to an employer and use their AI to think, well, these are the best candidates for me.
Love that.
For that. So part of it's the recruitment, but for us, it's more of how can we get the videos to educate young people? Because that's the last step of the process, guys, when you're actually applying for it. When you're 13, 14, thinking, crap, £85 million of funding's been cut by the government for the ARS program, not ASS, ASK. For which basically allows apprentices and businesses to go into schools funded by the government to talk about it. There's no secondary education for careers in schools right now, legally, unless it's privately paid for. We're trying to help do that with our own service at a fraction of the price of other competitors. However, the reason that's an issue is when you're 13, 14, who are you going to look up to? No one's coming into my school. I've got no platform to go to. Where are you going to go? Go on my phone. So we need these videos out there. We need this education to think that, not when using the AI to help you. It's when you're 13, 14 thinking, what is a geospatial analyst? That sounds kind of cool. Because it does sound cool, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
It does sound cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's this thing. I want to do that. But at the moment, there's nothing out there for it. So let's get this kind of library of content, get it out there, educate young people, make them aware of what is near them. There's no point wanting to be a geospatial analyst if you're all the way in the eye of the sky, and there's no point doing it. You need to also be realistic about what you can do and understand that most people aren't going to move out at home at 16 years old for a job.
No.
Some will, but that's the minority. Most people who are like me, who had nothing growing up, who have very minimal financial support, are going to find something in the next 15 miles of them.
Yeah.
How can we educate them? How can we enlighten them, but also inspire them and think, right, this is for me. Or maybe I want to give this a go. I think that's something we're trying to do. And it's the last thing I'll say is the work experience. The government have a work experience alpha pilot, they're calling it, for every kid now who's going into year 9 to have 15 days worth of work experience going forward. And I don't know how they're going to do it. There's no work experience platform for the government at all, like there is for an apprenticeship service. It's going to be on the schools if they don't do it. And we need to find a way to help the schools get their work experience. And I think that one of the Aspiration Digital events should count a today's worth of work experience.
Yeah.
I think it really, really should.
Yeah.
Because 15 days is a lot and it's hard when there's thousands of kids. So not only do we need to educate them about an apprenticeship, we need to educate them about work experience. An aspiration, a geospatial analyst may look great, but have you tried doing it?
Yeah.
That's also a thing.
Yeah, because you do. I mean, there were people I went to school with that were like, I want to be a lawyer because they watched Ally McBeal back in the day. Then they go and train as a lawyer and then they absolutely hate it. And it's like, okay, so at least, I mean, education-wise, you've leveled up, you've learned a lot of great stuff, so it will help you with other things. But what a shame to have invested 3, 4, 5 years into something that then you really don't like, that you don't want to do. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think on the work experience side of things, the other challenge there is getting companies that want to give work experience and getting them to give actual work experience that isn't just sit in the corner and do some filing or make some cups of tea, but actually hands-on. What do these jobs actually mean? And I mean, you've met Amy. Amy's actually your mum, isn't she? She has done wonders in our company at working out how we do work experience. This year, we've doubled the amount of students we've had in for work experience. But it actually, like, she's put a lot of time into it. But once you've done that once, we now have a repeatable formula that means it's actually really easy every time the students come in, because we've got a team trained up in knowing how to help the young people. We've got exercises set up that we can show them and that they can get on and do. But it was a commitment from us because we were like, we can't have the passion that we have for helping young people and not be able to help them within our own business. But not every business is like that. And it's like, that's one of the challenges for me. I want more businesses to realise that it's not a burden to do work experience, that actually, if you get it right in that week with that young person in your business, you're probably going to learn things from them. You're going to see a different perspective in your business that could open your eyes. But you can't do that if they're filing and making tea. You need to actually give them work experience. experience. So yeah, I think that's an interesting challenge to solve as well, isn't it?
I don't think I can solve it, but what I do believe we can work with the employers who we already work with to enable them to hire more work experience, but also work with lots of different businesses to say, hey, maybe not hiring an apprentice is right for you, but have some work experience. Because what you need to do is you need to create an early talent pipeline. And I believe now that's moved back a dial and going to work experience, where if you can get a business to hire 5 work experiences and think, well, actually, I'd love to hire one of them as an apprentice. I'd love to set that up. How's that going to work? Where am I going to do it?
Yeah.
That's the next step. But I think the work experience is now mandatory. It's now going to be Ofsted kind of graded, if I am correct, could be wrong, but I believe I'm right from what I've read, is we need to have it that young people, getting them work experience is one thing, but wanting for them to go and do it, and now there's £85 million worth of funding cut. So who's going to go in school and talk to them about it?
Yeah.
How are we going to go do this? And that's something that I would like to solve with Apprentigo going into schools, which I've mentioned to you about, something I didn't think I would be doing, to help more young people realize that what are we going to do? And that's where the digital skills gap comes in, where there's so many young people who just don't know. How can you develop a skill? Why would you want to learn to drive if you've never seen a car before? And then everyone telling you don't know how a car works, so you're an idiot. But I never had exposure to driving.
Yeah.
And that's the issue we're in.
Yeah. Yeah, how people can't be inspired to be something they can't see, that they
Exactly.
don't know. All the while they see technology and they might see the front end of it, but if you don't realise what goes on behind it to make it happen, it's how do you know? Because we take so many things for granted. I mean, we could look around this room at all the stuff that's in here. Someone owns a company that had to make everything that's in this room at some point or another, that manufactures it, that creates it, that came up with the idea for it, the technology for it, for the cameras, etc. But no one ever looks at stuff in that way. We just take it for granted that it's here and it's around us and it happens. But it's almost like, how can we peel that back for students to see there's a job here, there's a career here, there's your skills here matched to this. So I am so in love with what you're doing. I think it's incredible, and I think we're going to be firm supporters at Aspiration Digital of what you're doing, and keep sharing any content we can with our students as well, because again, they need to know about your platform. So it's if they don't know about it, it won't be able to help them. So we've got to get that bit right, make sure as many young people can find it. But any final questions, Oban, for you?
I mean, my school doesn't offer work experience. I'm just wondering, do you reckon there's any alternatives to it?
I would say go on Apprentigo, but unfortunately we don't actually have every work experience out there. No one does. You're going to have to pull your sleeves up. You're going to have to go and get on LinkedIn, message some companies, go open your phone book, go down the high street, call people, knock on doors and say, hey, my name's Oban, here's my CV, please can I get some work experience? And if they say no once, you go back there 2 days later, because the first no is never a no. You have to at least get 3 no's before it's a proper no for finding something. And that's how you get work experience, unfortunately. It's not great. Some schools give you work experience. But as I was told at a meeting in February at Windsor Castle with the further education company, most reports of people in school looking for work experience is also just normally a teacher's mate helping someone. And that's not fair.
Yeah.
But if we can educate young people like yourselves and talking to people like me about this is what an opportunity is, it might interest you. And through doing that, you've then got to go and do the hard work. But we're here to support. And I think that you can go find work experience. It's not going to be easy, but I also think that you will have a lot of lessons learning, getting it.
Yeah. And I think getting the approach right, why do you want work experience here? As soon as anyone that runs a business or works in a company has some form of ego. So to hear, oh, I've checked out your company and it's the kind of place I'd love to work. Is there any chance I could even just spend a day finding out a bit more about what you do? That's going to make someone go, wow, this young kid has found my company and wants to know about what we're doing. So obviously, if you go and reach out to the Metas or the Googles of the world, they'll be getting hundreds of these, but finding those businesses that are in the local area that are doing interesting things, that approach, people will pay attention. Some will, and back to the what's the worst that can happen? You'll get ignored or they'll say no. And we need 3 no's before we've learned that. We need 3 no's before we're going to take a no. But what's the worst that's going to happen? It's, you just got to send the messages out and see what you can find. But I think, yeah, get out there and get some work experience, because it will really help shape where you want to be. Because some of it, you'll go, I really didn't enjoy that. I don't want to be one of those people and work there.
I don't want to be a solicitor.
Yeah, but that's such a great thing to have closed a door, because then you're like, okay, so that's one off the list. Because all the while the list is every job possible, that is an unfathomable list. But as you start to go, right, I've narrowed it down, and now I'm going to start ticking them off, ones that I don't like, and I really like that. I'd like to try that again. I'd like to try that in a different company. Because I suppose the other dimension to when you look for a job is you've got the same job in tons of different companies, but they will be very different environments. You might like the corporate environment where there's thousands of people that work there and it's a huge thing, or you might like the thought of working for a 5-person small business that's starting up and creating something new. And there's no right or wrong, but it's finding what's right for you. But all the while you don't know that those are options and how those things feel and what they look like, you can't make that decision, can you? So I think, yeah, I love work experience. Is there anything we've not talked about? And I'm probably there's loads of things, but is there anything you're sitting here thinking, I've got a ton of young people listening right now and I'd love them to know this or to hear this?
Hope. Hope is what drives you forward. Hope for the future, that your life can change for the better, is what drives you forward. Hope that life can treat you more fair can drive you forward. To be kind is to have hope, and to have hope is to be kind. That's all last thing I will say.
Absolutely beautiful. You have been a fantastic guest, Carlo. There is so much we can learn from you. And I'm sure maybe we need you back on again to tell us a bit more, because there's more to come. But thank you so much for being so open as well and sharing so much with our audience. And thank you so much, Obam, for joining the conversation, for asking great questions, and also sharing your experiences. I think this has been a really fun conversation, which I knew it would be. So yes, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you on another episode of Behind the Future. That concludes another brilliant episode of Behind the Future. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen back to other episodes on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, as that will help us to grow this podcast, ensuring we can get the best guests on here for you to learn from. You can also follow us on socials, linked in the show notes for exclusive content. See you on the next episode.